or Joseph Parker vs Anthony Joshua Day of Destiny Facebook page. Look it up. It's where you're most likely to hear about Joseph Parker first. The date is Wednesday the 23rd of August, and I'm going to talk about Joseph Parker vs Hughie Fury and why I think, for the sake of heavyweight boxing, Joseph Parker needs to win this fight. And the fight's in approximately 30 days. And looking at it, for the sake of Joseph Parker in particular, but also heavyweight boxing, I think Joseph Parker has to win this fight. For Hughie Fury, I don't think, for the sake of his career, that he really does have to win this fight. So, based on that, where they're at in their respective careers, initially I'll make a prediction, and I'll say why. My prediction is that Joseph Parker will actually win this fight. He's hungrier, he's done the hard yards, he's been through wars, he listens to his coach, he makes the right moves at the right time, just has the will, and he's been there, done that. And as I said, he has a lot to lose from this fight. Hughie Fury, on the other hand, says he wants it, saying he's doing all the right things, making all the right moves, saying all the right things, blah blah blah. But to me, that doesn't ring true. I think he's fooling himself, and that's it really. I don't think he really does want it, and at this stage of his career, he can get away with losing without any real damage done to his future prospects. As we look at his profile on BoxRec, you can see he's actually become inactive, which means he hasn't fought for over a year. If we go through his record, he's actually the 30th of April 2016, so 15 months without a real fight. And when he did fight, he fought a durable fighter, Cassie, but yeah, nothing to talk about really there. Dominic Gwynn, nothing to talk about. We go down, further down, to the only fighter he's really fought with any real decent credibility is Rudenko, who has lost again since then, although it was a good fight that he fought against Povetkin. It's a decision again, so he can hang in there, but he can't really hurt you. So that's all Hughie's fought really, is fighters that can't hurt him. If we go to Joseph Parker, what I was saying about getting through fights, well, the Ruiz fight, he got through that somehow. You know, he made the moves at the right time and listened to his coach and did what his coach said, and they got the result. Timochenko, easy win. Hamona, easy win. Two fights that'll, if they had gone a bit longer, there would have been devastating knockouts in both. I was at both of those fights, and disappointed they both actually ended when they did, because they would have been, those guys were just about to get severely KO'd when they went down. Takam was gutsy as hell. It was a gutsy as hell win, and he really got tested in his first true fight that he could actually lose, and he came through it, and that's, to me, is what put him above a lot of other fighters. You know, name people that have been touted but haven't actually done it. He got through that, then he did it again with Ruiz. And the Kajanu fight, well, you know, if you're the Chelsea football team and you train to play Real Madrid and then you go and play second division bloody team with 10 fullbacks, you're not going to look that great, are you? So that's how I rate that fight. I was actually happy with aspects of that fight, to be honest, because he moved quite a lot and was quite flexible around the ring. So, and even the Bergman fight, once again, that was a tough fight. And you know, every fight he does actually seem to be learning something. So that's where those two guys are at. So I think Joseph Parker is actually a big favourite. Hughie might be doing this and that, but personally I just think Joseph Parker's got to land once on his jaw. and he will be wobbled, and once he's wobbled, he's going down. So Hughie, in his training that I've seen, he is moving and jabbing quite well, quite elusive, and he could catch Parker coming in quite a bit with his jab and just pushing him off and landing on the body and that kind of thing, and he could actually outbox Parker for quite a while of this fight. But I think in 12 rounds Parker is going to catch him on the jaw at least once, get him on the ropes a couple of times at least, you'd have to think, in the corner, and really lay into Fury. But if Fury has powers increased, which they're saying it has, and all these other factors, it would need to have, we'll put it that way. So my prediction is that Parker will win this fight. He could win it in the first 2 rounds, and if he doesn't get through that, I think he's got to win this fight in patches of rounds, like try and win the first 3 rounds, then try and win round 5 and 6. Round 6 and 7, and get it to the last round where he doesn't have to win the last round. That's the idea, and could even get a late KO on Fury at the end. So Fury has to win 7 out of 12 rounds. So if Parker can win the first 3, then theoretically it's really uphill for Fury. And I think if Parker comes out like he says, which is attacking and aggression, then he will win the first 3 rounds. So that's how I see that. But to my main point about this is what happens. Joseph Parker wins, the world is oyster. To me, the next fight, and I've seen a video yesterday on Tar Boxing Voice where Kevin Barry has said that their next fight that they would want will be Tony Bellew, and I agree with that, and I think that's a fight that Bellew wants as well, and that's what Kevin Barry stated. He said that that's the fight that they would be looking for next in England. So where are we? And after that, I would think potentially Dillian White. After that, here it is here on Tar Boxing Voice. It's the channel. So yeah, Kevin Barry stated pretty unequivocally that Bellew would be the next fight that they would want, and that would be in England. And then after that, it really opens up. Who knows? Hay might be back by then. And then you'd think Dillian White will be fighting someone, either Wilder or Parker. You think that he's going to get that fight. And the money that's previously been offered, yes. I think that fight will happen with White, although I like White, but he's a bit one-dimensional and just a bit of a brawler. And I don't think he could keep a real boxer off him. So yeah. Now, what's worrying me though, because that would be, and once again Parker on the fight to the Unifications, the road is looking good for that to happen. However, what happens if Joseph Parker loses? Now, first of all, I'll talk about Parker's career if he loses. I think if he loses, he's really in trouble, because there's only going to be, none of the champions are going to want to fight him. So that knocks him on the back foot. He's probably going to be out of Britain, so he won't be fighting in Britain. My opinion is he'll probably go back to the States and fight there, so be almost like a journeyman there. Or he'll go back to New Zealand, where once again it's back to struggling to get good fighters down there, and building yourself up. And I've gone through a few of the fighters that have had this happen to them. If I go through, some of the fighters, like I'll start with Dominic Breazeale, because he is a guy that actually I really like. I respect everything that he's done, and he's taken a risk. He's done what a lot of them don't do. He had a loss, and it was a good loss. We've all got to admit that. But instead of doing what a lot of them do, and taking a number of easy fights that they're definitely going to win, he got straight back on the horse. And he took on Easy Ugonu. And that's a risk fight, because he should have lost that fight if Ugonu had any kind of way of listening to the coach that Joseph Parker does, that Easy doesn't have, obviously, because he got beaten and he should have won this fight easy. He got on, he won that fight, and now he's back in contention. You know, he's not far, probably only 2 or 3 fights away from a title shot again. So I like Brazil and what he's done there, and I respect him a lot for that. If I go back to another fighter, I'll go to Carlos Takam. We go to his career, and he had a loss here, Gregory Tony, that was early on. That's probably held him back a wee bit. He's taken on easy fights. Ching, 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 ching. Easy, 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 easy. Look, 7 or 8 fights. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then he finally took a risky fight, Mike Perez, and it was a draw. He got through that, though. Then he got a fight. Povetkin wasn't a heavyweight shot, but it was a big fight for probably a shot at the heavyweight title. And he lost to Povetkin, and he's gone again. Easy fight, easy fight, easy fight. Then mandatory fight for the mandatory shot at AJ against Parker, and lost. It's the same path. Easy, easy. So that's Talis to come, and that's over a period from his initial loss, 2009. It's now 2017. He still hasn't had a title shot. So that's the other path that you can take. I go to another guy. So he's taken a no-risk path, and he's waited for the big fight. He's got it. He's lost. We get up another guy, Christian Hammer. Didn't have a great start to his career. Lost first fight. Couple of losses. One that he probably shouldn't have lost against this guy, Bedenko, but he lost to Wok. So his career's looking journeyman material. Easy fight, easy fight, easy fight, easy fight. Easy fight's tough fight, but not definitely fights. He should win all these fights. And he fought Tyson Fury, so he waited all that time for that shot against a good fighter. Once again, WBO International Heavyweight title, I'm not sure what that is. But he got beat. And then he's taken an easy fight. Well, easy, then he's taken a risk. He's fought a druggie fighter, and then a guy with a bad chin. And he's taken the risk. He had nothing to lose, of course. And now he's back on the bandwagon. So, to me, you have to take risks to get back on the bandwagon quicker. Some of these fights, otherwise you're waiting a long time. And this is what I'm afraid could happen to Joseph Parker. See, the difference between him and I think these guys is no one is actually going to want to fight him. Only a certain criteria fighter, who's probably someone that's actually genuinely good and wants to beat a world champion and is willing to take that risk, which is bugger all people. And yeah, who's going to, if Joseph Parker loses this fight, who is going to want to fight him? And where's he going to fight? You know? So, you know, there's a huge amount on the line for Joseph Parker in this fight. And is he going to have the will to fight? You know, to have that focus and that mentality that he's got, because he's 23-0 unbeaten. That if you lose, I'm pretty sure that can dissipate quite quick, and your discipline and everything, you know, you can really go down quite quick. And you've seen it with some of these other profiles. And how long, you know, they actually have to wait for that shot. And you've got to keep your focus the whole entire time. So it's really, really hard. And that's another reason, you know, Joseph Parker has to win this fight, in my opinion. And Hughie Fury doesn't. Because Hughie Fury gets another shot. Or 2 down the line, you know. So, that's what I see for Joseph Parker. Now for Hughie Fury, if he loses, doesn't really matter, in my mind. Gets another shot eventually, blah, blah, blah. But the downside, and the downside for world boxing, is that Hughie Fury becomes WBO champion. By that stage, Ortiz and Joshua should have fought. So one of them will have 2 belts. Deontay Wilder, hopefully get this Devine fight out of the way, then he's got to fight someone. See, there's Ortiz there. It's funny how this could go. Ortiz is sort of a fly in the ointment because he's ranked highly there and there. And he's even over here. Ortiz, Ortiz, Ortiz. So that could play out anyway. These here, this area here could play out anyway. And that's almost a unification. That could happen. But what really concerns me is if this guy, who God knows how he's ranked there, if that guy beats this guy, that guy has got this. And one of these guys is going to have all those. But what gets me is with the Furies and all their fucking around and fuck around that they do, is there going to be a unification? Because I can see them, this guy in his camp, even though they've got 1 belt to 3, thinking they hold all the cards, and they're going to be a major fuck around for the unification, and they're going to stretch it out as much as they can and try and get as much as they can out of it and really make the fans wait and really piss us off big time. And there'll be untold media this, untold media that, and nothing will happen for ages. It'll go on and on and on and on and on, and they're really going to fuck us around because they've seen it with how they do things. It's how they work. And they know how to maximise what they've got. And I think that's what's going to happen. So, disappointing if he wins, Hughie Fury wins. Yeah, and really disappointing all round, especially if you're a fan of Joseph Parker and you're a fan of heavyweight boxing and unifications. If Hughie Fury wins this fight, could be a bit of a downtime. So that's what I've really got to say on the subject. Join the Facebook page and you hear everything first, theoretically, about Joseph Parker. Let's get it on!